Alright, so this whole platform is everything that I built. And allow me to explain what we got here. So the first thing you'll see is we got some logic here. This just turns on and off the lights when it gets day or night. We have two deep core miners. These are digging up core for us, digging up ores for us, and then they'll be output to the stacker, where they go into a stack size of 50, which is the maximum stack size. And then they'll come into here in this junction, where they'll fuse together, both ones, and come into this silo. This silo contains all of the ore. The ore is then sent through a distribution piping network into these four centrifuges, where they will be processed into regular ore, which is then fused into one line, which is then sent down this array of sorting machines full of stackers and sorting machines and a computer to control it all. And then at the end, if they were to add an ore that I wouldn't know about, here would be where I would find out about it, because it would eject out the back. And then these, of course, hook up to all of these silos. We got iron, gold, uranium, copper, coal. This is silver, nickel, lead, silicone, and cobalt. And this whole operation here is powered by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tracking solar panels. Here's the logic for the tracking. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 upright wind turbines. And these don't really make a lot of power. Their sole purpose is essentially just to make sure that the solar panel batteries have enough charge to last the entire night as it's gimbaling back to the start position, because it takes quite a lot of power from the panels. And, of course, a big battery. And now that it's daytime, we can go over to the fun part. Here is the smithy, essentially. So we can put in our oxides, our volatiles, or our nitrites, and they'll end up in this line here and stored in this tank if need be. And then the filtration unit will pull out the oxygen and then send it down. Then it will pull out the hydrogen and send it down, and then pull out the nitrogen, and then anything left over will be vented. At the nitrogen, we've got a back pressure regulator, which functions as a safety relief valve to a vent, and then an inline tank and a regular pressure regulator so that you can fill your nitrogen tanks. Then we've got the oxidizer line and the fuel line, colored accordingly, and a gas mixing pump and valve assembly. So we are able to mix 34% oxygen, 66% hydrogen into this fuel line. And from this fuel line, we have a small bit of pressure. So we use another pressure regulator to bring it up to a pressure which will allow it to be stored into this tank. And this may have to vary over time depending on how full it gets, but you can see right now we're about 20% full. And we use another pressure regulator with a small pump in it, and this will bring this line up to 20 megapascals. So this meter here is essentially telling us how much fuel we have, and this meter here is actually telling us the fuel pressure. And then it comes into this furnace, we light it up, do our smelting, whatever, and this is just the stacker so that we can get the precise measurements we need for the stoichiometry of the alloys. And then when we shut the furnace down, we use this outlet pump, and it comes into this line. And it begins to get cooled down here with these radiators and stored in this uninsulated tank, right? This whole line is insulated, including this tank. This is uninsulated here and all of this so that it can cool down because it's really, really hot. and then it'll come here, and if the pressure accumulates past a safe amount, again, back pressure regulator functioning as a safety relief valve to an insulated vent so that we don't accidentally light anything on fire. And I may upgrade that to a flare stack at some point. And then we've got this valve here we can open up, and that will send it down to a further cooling operation and right down to the gas reclamation system. So this has 7 arrays of filters and tanks. We've got one tank for CO2, one tank for N2, one tank for N2O, one tank for O2, a tank for pollutants, one tank for hydrogen, and one tank for water. And so the we've got the pressure up this line here, and we've essentially got a pressure gauge for this main line. Anywhere we have an operator operating a machine, it is very important that the mainline pressure is displayed. If they're operating it while the system is on, and they're dumping gas in, it's very important. And then we also have the meter here, which is essentially just displaying effectively how much gas is stored in each of these tanks. And that's it. It's a rather very simple system, to be honest.